Welcome, ladies and gentlemen,
Welcome.
to the Google Hangout entitled The Business of Spirituality. My name is Jason Hairston, and I am an energy healer. I am an artist, speaker, author, all those good things. Here, my man Alex Merricks, who is a digital currency expert, a quantum mechanic.
Oh, well, hell.
Yeah, yeah.
That's exciting.
And the goddess Valerie Elster.
That's quite an intro. Let's hear my
A
intro.
quantum engineer, a goddess, a healer, Akashic field therapy. Yeah. But we are here to talk about the value within the spiritual world. And should people charge moolah, money, dinero for their services that are linked to spirituality? Some people feel that you shouldn't charge for those services, and some people feel that you do. So what we're going to do is we're going to hand this on over to the goddess, because I want to know, Miss Valerie Elster, should people pay for spiritual services, or should someone just give those services away for free? Let us know. Let the people know how you feel.
Well, I think let's preface this. We did a post. Actually, Jason, you did it it was last month, and it was asking people this question because this is an age-old question that I see time to time. Other people post it as well. People that want to operate on the kind of donation-based gift economy. I don't know if those are the same, but I think there's some crossover. And we posted it, and we got over 200 responses. And it was kind of broken down into three categories. Some people said, hell yeah, you should charge for your services. It's an exchange of time and energy, right? Some people said no, because this is, if you're talking about spiritual wisdom and consciousness, etc., did Jesus charge? So they said no, you shouldn't. It should just be whatever perhaps someone could afford to pay. And then the third group, what the third group say? I think somewhere in the middle. It was a little bit about, allowing people to,
Pay what they can. Allow people to pay what they can, type of deal.
If they can, or some kind of exchange.
Right.
So I think we had a good, it was like a three, 2 to 3 type of answers. So I felt like, okay, we need to talk more about this, and let's bring this to perhaps, the three of us. And I've been working as a, healing facilitator, teacher, mentor for 10 years. I have charged from day one for not only sessions, but also teaching. And I think that there has to be some kind of exchange. And so the way that I work is, I'll have some set pricing, but I will not turn anyone down. If somebody really wants to learn, really wants to, follow kind of what I'm doing or get a session, then I am very open to working with that person. I've also done exchanges where I'll exchange with other practitioners for their services, and I've also taken other forms of payment. So I am flexible in that way, but I do feel like, I had to take classes, I had to pay my teachers to learn Reiki, to learn Akashic field therapy. So for me to not charge, or for me to just kind of put it out there, doesn't really seem like a very good value proposition. And especially in Reiki, but I think for most things, the exchange is very important, because you want there to be an even, you want the energy to be very clean, where no person feels like, hey, I gave an hour of my time, I wasn't fairly compensated. So I say yes.
Okay, so Alex, how do you feel? Should people charge for their guidance, their spiritual guidance, or coaching, anything in that realm?
And before you answer that, we do have the question area open. So if anyone would like to ask a question during the Hangout, please submit a question over in that box, and we will gladly answer it. Okay. Now to you, Alex.
Okay, so when we're talking about charging for spiritual services, I want to just kind of like, approach this from a fundamental perspective. Someone that is providing something, whether it be a service for a service to improve your computer, or a service to help you perform better in the sport you play, or a service to help you heal from an emotional wound, or an intellectual trauma. It is a service, and the thing is, what we're really talking about is exchange. We're just talking about exchange.
Yeah.
Now, sometimes a person providing a service is in a position where they are not required to have to accept money, and an individual who's in that position will probably exchange without needing money. And then there's times where you're in a position where you have a service and you have a skill, and maybe your survival requires that you need some form of exchange. Well, when you put a price on a specific service, we only do that because we're making an attempt to weigh the consumable goods we need to survive, to continue to provide services. So if a person puts a number on something, and that number maybe doesn't reflect how others feel, maybe those others are in a different scenario where their survival needs are covered. And so to them, to charge is ludicrous. But to somebody who their life is based on studying, meditating, going deep into the deeper spiritual aspects of existence, it's very rare to see the world has set up a society where they're funding these people to just live their lives. But are these people valuable? Absolutely. They're very valuable.
I think I totally agree, and some of the argument is like, oh, in India, this is the way it's done, and the people just donate. But I think that somebody pointed out...
I would make an argument, though, about that.
Yeah, let me pull up... Let me pull up one of our, okay, that's not it. Do you have the, I wanted to pull up a couple of the comments from our original, do you know what that is? Jason, do you have it on your phone? No?
I'm looking for it now.
Okay, I just want to pull up a couple of the comments from that original post, because somebody did talk about that, and I think it was one of my friends who said if we were in that environment, then that would make sense, because traditionally the healer, she said if we were in a tribe, then a healer would be supported by the tribe for doing what they do, and if they spent all day healing instead of gathering food or water, then that food or water would be provided for them. So in essence, they had a role in that environment. Just as a healer or a guru, what have you, in India, they have roles within the system or within that country. But I think it's also set up from, is it subsidized by the country? I don't really know. I don't know exactly how it works.
By the country, but I mean, let's just look at India, for example. Okay. They have a very difficult time collecting taxes in the first place. So they don't necessarily have like a system like the West that requires taxation if you own a property. They don't necessarily have where you go buy goods from people at the store. It's not as standard. Maybe in your metros it's more standard, but there's over 1.2 billion people and more. Half of those people don't have electricity. So you're talking about a place that is still very third world, right? Now, let's look at here. There's about 280 million people. Do we lose our spirituality because we become a developed nation? No. But we have infrastructure, and we have taxation. And so for those of us who want to spend our time in deep meditation and to spend our time, continue to expand our spiritual essence, does this problem of infrastructure disappear for us? It doesn't. So in a developed nation, these are different problems And the aspect of exchange requires money to
Yeah.
pay for those things. So if all of a sudden the state, remember we have separation of church and state here, right? So I'm just going to assume that that means that we have separation of spirituality and state, meaning the state is not going to make an attempt to subsidize any spiritual service. Now, we as a community of spiritual people, we can subsidize a spiritual service with disruptive technologies. We can come together to create advanced barter. We can use these new cryptocurrencies, as I've spoken of before, and find a way to come together with a system like this to exchange to one another and to find ways that we can reduce the cost of living, the cost of having to cover the bare necessities for survival in order to deliver spiritual services to more people and maybe not be required to charge them. Because I'm not against not charging. I'm just not for a person providing a service not being exchanged to.
Yeah, and I think this is for anything, in any service. You know, people say, is, you know, plumber going to come over and say he's doing something, he's providing a service based on his years of experience and knowledge. I think the issue is because spirituality is something that, you know, is inherent or that should be part of our culture. I mean, I guess if you go to church, you don't, what do? You donate. You know, they pass that basket around, right? And you're guilty if you don't put money in.
Well, I think part of the issue.
I have no experience in the church setting.
I think part of the issue. I think part of the issue when it comes to spirituality in the West is that the whole system of the West is set up around materialism. It's set up around your value is based on what you own and who you are. Status is all outer. So we don't value the inner self. So therefore we don't explore the inner self. So those who explore the inner self and bring value and guidance to guide you back into your inner self, it's not perceived as being valuable because it's not a physical, tangible thing. But
neither is law of physical.
Neither is what? Neither is what?
I'm like echoing. Is that on your side?
No, I don't hear echoing.
Oh, okay.
But what did you say?
I would say any advice though, a lawyer. Why would you hire a lawyer?
Right, but we
$1 an hour. You're using data to assist you, and they're providing a service. I think the issue is more about the spirituality and the fact that people attach some type of expectation to it, and that could muddle the actual service, the actual experience.
I think that's part of it too, but I also think the value, we don't value our inner selves because we only look at ourselves like just a physical body. We don't understand that our emotional blockages and our emotional pain is what contributes to our issues in the outer world. So, and as far as hiring, you know, the validation of hiring a attorney for advice. Attorney has a certificate, you know, the validation from the school. But, you know, I don't have a certificate for what I do, but I share tons of information online through my articles, through my YouTube clips. So if you read my articles and if you listen to my YouTube clips, if you have an open heart and you embrace that information, you should be able to see the value within it outside of a certificate, you know, because I explain in detail what I teach, how I teach, and what it represents. So I think it all goes back to us, because on top of that, there are a lot of people in the spiritual, quote-unquote, business who take advantage of people as well. Correct. So people have been, you know, taken advantage of.
That's
so that trauma from that. So the trauma from that causes people to be defensive when it comes to getting spiritual guidance, you know. So I think that's part of the issue as well.
I just want to share another quote I'm echoing over here. Darn it. Someone mentioned that her grandmother was a healer, really well known, and she was booked solid most days, and she never charged a set fee. So she just booked, people paid her cash, they paid her chickens, you know, whatever someone had, they would offer up.
Barter is a
Big echo, darn it.
I'm not against barter at all. I mean, it's the most fundamental way to provide, exchange. And again, as stated earlier, the idea is value. That's the idea. If you value something, do you feel what you're getting is valuable enough to facilitate that individual to survive further? Because if you don't wish that individual survive further, and you don't exchange to them at all, then unless they're immortal, which I guess you could say to some degree we as spirits are immortal, but until this body transcends this 3D form and becomes immortal, it still requires substance. It still requires me to eat, drink water, have a place to sleep, have clean, fresh air, among other things. So I'm all for someone that could, solve that problem of immortality for physical bodies, so that I will not be required to have these things and not be required to have to exchange for my survival. But until we're there, which I'm sure we'll get there someday, but until we're there, we've created a system of exchange so that the things that we value, the things that we want to survive into the future, we provide something for. And if I want someone who's helping me to spiritually improve my life, I'm going to do what I can to help them survive. I may not always be able to do it, but when I can, I'm going to. And if it may not be a fixed price. It may be, hey, today I could bring you a couple bottles of water, But then if all of a sudden I do better in my life, it's like, hey, I could do much more than that. Here's this. So I think the idea is that we really, what we're talking about is dealing with people that understand the value of exchange. And monetary systems were only put in place to provide an advanced system of exchange. That's it. We get disgusted by money systems because money systems today have become about purchasing power.
Yeah.
They become about purchasing power because of macroeconomic, policies, right?
Alex, hold on. I'm going to turn my camera off. Big echo on my side.
Okay.
I'll turn it off for a second and turn it back on.
Okay.
I don't know if that's going to help.
Did you have any, anything to add to that, Jason?
Yeah, I agree with what you said. And on top of that, I think.
Is that better? No.
Yeah.
It's still echoing.
You sound good.
Yeah, you sound good.
No, but someone, one of the listeners said it's a big echo.
Oh,
okay.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yes, I agree. I barter and I trade. I accept Bitcoin, so it's not just I don't just accept money. But I also want to say that I think that when people say you shouldn't charge for your coaching, first of all, what I do with my coaching, I offer tools to people. And I tell them within a consultation that I'm going to offer you tools to apply in your life to help guide you back to your own power. I'm not doing anything. I'm guiding you. I'm giving you tools to use. And my clients use the tools and they see changes in their lives. So but the question is, as far as some people feel like you shouldn't charge for that type of service, but here's the thing. What's your intention? Your intention defines anything. Is my intention solely just to get money from people? No. The only reason why I charge money is because I need it to survive. If I didn't need money, I wouldn't charge.
I don't know if that's the issue, though. I don't think people are saying don't take any exchange.
Well, I've heard some people say that,
Really?
I've had discussions. People say that giving a quote-unquote spiritual guidance is something that comes from God. It's not you. It's free. So you shouldn't.
You know what, though? I think those people have regular jobs. And so I think it's an orientation thing. If you're if you're just giving advice based on, your own opinion, why would you charge? It's not a professional service.
Well,
So
they
I
say you
think
should go get a regular job, though. They say you should go get a regular job. You should go get a regular job. If you want to make money, go get a regular job. You see, so
I do see that. I think people have that separation, but also I think it's about, and I don't think this is a big percentage. Whereas I think the bigger issue was having a set fee when someone makes an appointment, setting it up, and then I think perhaps some people feel like, well, we are all growing, we all should be sharing information. But we all do share information. Alex does, I do, Jason does all the time. So it's like we have information that is basically free because it's public on Facebook. Then if somebody actually wants to get personal and ask a specific question relating to them, in my opinion, that turns into a session. So whatever it is we're providing is based on the time, which I don't think most people have a problem with. But I think where the problem lies is people that charge, in some minds, exorbitant fees, whatever that may be. And that's also very subjective.
Right.
But
It's completely subjective.
right? Totally subjective. Like, you can find data. Okay, so you want to go represent yourself in a case. You can find every possible thing in a law library. But you're going to hire an attorney to make sure that you really know your data. So it's kind of
using it effectively. And see, this is where I come in. You may know spiritual, and let's take the word spiritual out first of all.
Yeah, forget spiritual.
I'm guiding people to how to shift the energy in their lives. We can call it spiritual, but we don't have to. So let's just take that word out, because that word alone tends to taint, the practice for some people. So you could have a lot of knowledge based on consciousness, but if you don't know how to effectively apply that knowledge, that's where I come in. I give a tool. This is how you apply this knowledge, and this is why it works. This is how it works, and when you use it in this way, this is what will happen. And then my clients apply it, and they give me the feedback how things switch in their life. So if I wasn't there to be the guide, they wouldn't know how to apply the knowledge. I experienced the wisdom that I share with them from my experience, through my life experience. My life experience has value, just like the next person's life experience has value. That's what.
Well, go ahead, Alex. I was just looking at some of the other comments, but finish your thought.
Okay, so I think what Jason is saying is, an individual that has spent time and energy going through lots of data, sifting through workable data, unworkable information, because the thing is, there's a lot of unworkable information out there. And the only reason that someone would come to Jason is because of all the free information that they've seen from him. It's workable because they're hearing it, they're applying it in their life, and it's causing a reflection that's making them have a better outlook or improved application in what they do. So then that makes you want to get closer and say, you know what, man, there must be more. And that more that brings you closer and makes you want to go deeper into yourself, because you obviously know that the information that he sifted through, there's a value here. That's quantized information, that's quantized data, because he spent the time required to go through
I agree.
Your existence, your life, whatever the total amount of time. Now,
I totally agree.
That's valuable, and it's valuable because, if I had to go his path to figure out what he's done, how long would it take me to do it without Jason? It might take me however many years he exists.
Yeah, he's a guide. Let me just read another one. Someone mentioned that the majority of spiritual leaders give away a lot of information for free, YouTube, etc. And that's great. And my question is, well, what if you call Eckhart Tolle and say, hi, can you spend an hour with me on the phone giving me personal information? Do you think he's going to do that?
I mean, if you're
probably not. He's gonna
within the circle of Eckhart Tolle, which is a completely different social class. But
or you're going to go pay $100 to go see him talk. I mean, but he's going to have 10,000 people there. I just feel like
there's also having a value or a price, because sometimes you have to limit the amount of people that are coming to you. You get to a certain level and your value increases so much that it's not that you're not willing to or cannot help everyone, because you are. But at a certain point, the people coming to you, they themselves are practitioners, and helping those practitioners who are exchanging to you is going to help more people. So, you have to see the order of things. When you reach a certain level, it's not that you're not willing to see someone on the street that needs help and help them. You are, and you will, because that's your nature. But you're not going to walk around the street all day and just, you're going to help people who can help people on all the streets in all the cities. You see, basically putting your attention on those who have the same urge as you and building a group to go. That's again part of the reason why we exchange.
And it's interesting that you say that, because most of my clients are actually healers.
There you go.
And it's like,
yeah, mine too, actually. So, I wonder if this is this a deeper issue? Because a lot of spiritual people, healers, coaches, they seem to be kind of dramatizing this lack of money. So, do you think that's
I think it's because I think we all innately know. I mean, I'll tell you right now, we all innately know that we're immortal spiritual beings. I know I'm an immortal spiritual being. I feel it. This thing right here, it knows it too, but it's it needs food, water. So what ends up happening is we get confused, because we're like, wait a second, I'm part of this physical matrix, but I'm not this physical thing. Wait a second, I'm getting information that came from this non-physical, but I have this physical thing. You see, so that is a confusion, and it to some degree probably causes some anxiety. But if we evaluate and we just look very clearly, we have a physical form. Let's not be ignorant and drop out the physical form. Let's make sure that the physical form stays in the condition required to deliver what it's doing, and that means exchange.
Well, let's see. Oh, I was going to read another one. Someone said, should you charge? Absolutely. There should be no apology. When you know you are source manifest truly and have no reason to handle the idea of money with any vibrations of ego-based fear, then it's not even a thought that would crosses your mind.
Okay, interesting.
So it's leading me to think that there is an issue in general in those that said you shouldn't charge, that they perhaps are struggling for money themselves. And perhaps that's where it's coming from. But I think there's also a value. And do you think perhaps people who don't value their own service are then mirroring, saying, well, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And what I noticed too, I come across people who are very powerful that have value to provide in this way, and they don't want to get in exchange for their value, because they feel like, nah, this is too spiritual, I shouldn't do it.
Yeah, there's something about this spiritual, maybe that's the wrong word.
Here's the thing too, you mentioned ego. People say that's egotistical for you to charge for this type of practice, but the thing is, what's your intention? If your intention is just to get money, then that's ego-based, because it's greed. But if my intention is to truly help you, then it's not. So at the end of the day, as far as the price that I charge, personally, I think I should be charging more, because I see...
No, I don't think... you're talking about what I just mentioned. I don't think that's what she was saying. She said... Let me read it again. She said, when you know you are source and have no reason to handle the idea of money with any vibrations of ego-based fear, then it's not a thought, meaning you should charge. She's saying yes.
Oh, okay. I'm
yes, maybe I read that. Didn't come across it. She's saying, of course you should charge.
Oh, okay.
Why are you worried about money and handling it? It's just a tool. It's just energy.
Okay, now somebody also said, I don't feel you should charge for your gift or wisdom. Did our ancestors charge us for that? It's selfish to have knowledge and not share. Sharing is caring. if people are happy with you, they will support you from their heart. Interesting.
I agree. Let's go ahead and get Microsoft, Intel, and Google to all agree and provide these computers and software to us for free, and all the servers that are up and running for free, so that that communication that was exchanged at a cost is free, and so that we can all communicate for free.
Yes.
So the speed of communication and the speed at which we're doing things requires leveraging. And are there better systems? Absolutely. It's up to us to build those better systems.
Yeah,
you see, it's up to us to create those and basically change the way that we view money so that we can improve how we exchange. It's not to me, it's not about, you know, finding a way to charge $10,000 for a service to become wealthy off of someone.
Not at all.
You know,
I think that's where people have a trauma. There's a trauma there because some people do, and I think there people take the extreme view, as many people do. Let's look at the person that charges $10,000 for a week to you know.
I think we know what it really comes down to. It really comes down to this. Just look at the religions that are in power.
That's my point. I don't know why. Maybe that's what the true trauma is here.
That's what it is. We're up. There's plenty of people that are very upset to see a very wealthy organization. Like, I don't have to name the wealthy organizations.
Did I just name it?
Accumulated lots of
Catholic Church.
Well, you know, I mean, they're all over the place, right? And so
yeah. So you think it's a deeper issue? This is a deeper issue.
The buttons. That's where people go. It's like, oh goodness, look at. They're taking advantage of these poor people. Or when you go to somewhere and you see somebody, let go of all your assets, but you see this guy holding this gold stick worth $2 million.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. Well,
this is my assets. So what are you talking about? So that trauma, that frustration, all of a sudden is like, you know, you're walking on the street and you see somebody and they're providing a spiritual service and they're saying, oh, well, it's, you know, it's $200. Immediately what triggers in their mind, seeing that person that accumulated wealth, you know, off of people that didn't have anything. So I think we have to differentiate. We really have to like have open eyes. And
I think this conversation got kind of thrown in together. I think this is what you said, Alex. The cost of spirituality is not subsidized currently. Yeah. Therefore, an individual is required to pay more for the service to be provided than other things. Yeah. And I think you mentioned a little bit about that, is, you know, the value of some of these other, quote, healing modalities, you know, or what's mainstream, like acupuncture and chiropractic and what have you, are covered under insurance. That's right. And so if you have insurance, decent insurance, you can get those types of alternative treatments, you know, just like you would as a regular doctor. And then there's this whole group of other miscellaneous type of modalities that people don't know what to charge. You know, I think that's it. It's like there are kind of going rates, especially with, you know, like massage. You kind of know what you're going to pay depending on what city you live in, right? Mm-hmm. So I think it's also a matter of people feeling like, oh, am I being ripped off? Am I being given information? And someone put it somewhere on the actual event page. He said a person who, he didn't want to mention a name, wanted to charge him $300 for something that another person told him in 15 minutes. And then she told me she felt not so well of the fact that he didn't charge as much.
Interesting.
She felt bad that the person didn't charge as much?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
So basically, like, oh, you're not charging enough.
Completely different circumstances, right?
People have different intentions.
Yeah, it's different circumstances. There's not enough information to evaluate.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, look, if here's the thing. If we in the spiritual community are trying to create and set a standard, and the standard becomes, okay, if you are a spiritual healer, your net worth cannot be such and such. Or if you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, like, I think that's a collective trauma, really.
That's what I mean. Is like some people can be a spiritual healer and can go make $1 billion, and guess what? They don't have a button neither here nor there. And if we're talking about money and we're talking about likability because you make money or don't make money, let's just talk about Jesus, right? Okay, so he was a healer and he didn't make much money, but there was people that liked him and people that didn't like him. So in essence, it really doesn't matter if you're making money or not making money. There are going to be people that like you and don't like you. So it really comes down to the aspect of exchange and survival. If Jesus could survive with people providing things to him and he was okay with that, fantastic. If there's another individual that provides, some type of service, but, people want to give him thousands of dollars or give her thousands of dollars for doing it, should we?
I think people do. My point is that somebody might give, someone $2,000, but it's a donation. They're not asking for money. I think this is where the line is.
Okay, so what you're saying is there's an etiquette. There's a required etiquette to having money. Like basically, oh no, please do not give me so much money. But then
no. Oh no, like Pramahama. What's his name? Pramahama. What I'm saying is that it's one way or the other. It's if you're not asking for specific money, meaning if you don't have a set price, right? Mm-hmm. You're accepting donations. Somebody could give you $1 or $10,000. You're open to receiving that in exchange. Versus, I charge $10,000 up front before I even talk to you. Is my intention about assisting you? Or is my intention really about assisting, is authentic? Am I in it for the money, or I really want to assist you? I think that's where people see that there might be either an ethical or some type of possible, breach of intention. So this goes back to intention.
Right,
but do you think the scenario, it's one approach or the other approach? And I think that's where people kind of got split. Is they're not sure what your intention is. Is it just to make money, and so you're just going to tell me whatever I need?
Right, because this is what I do. When I do a 30-minute consultation with all of my clients, I explain what my intention is from the beginning, and I tell them that look, I'm just going to give you tools. You can either apply them or not. You have to do the work. It's solely up to you whether this works or not. You have to apply the tools. So at the end of the day, I'll make sure they don't have this expectation of it's going to be the greatest healing session in the world. If you don't do the work,
expectation. And I think that's important. What is the expectation? Somebody. Yeah, I'm with you, because it's like if someone's promising that you're going to be,
right, because I have
30 days, that kind of stuff, which that's how people market. I mean, unfortunately, is it our society? Are people just, remember I sent you guys that article about the law of attraction?
Yeah.
And it was interesting because it talked about, I think there's a little bit of crossover here in that, the premise of it has this financial ramification that, and I think that's why even the Abraham Hicks, they weren't happy about that that original video.
You're talking about because of the promotion of.
Yeah, because they made it very much.
You have more.
So here's the question: is appealing to how people look at products and services now, even though you might be actually very authentic and offering something to assist, but the way people consume and interpret what you're offering is put into this, wrapper of, lose 30 pounds in 30 days.
Yeah, it's the marketing.
Okay, I think that's part of it.
The marketing vehicle of the Western world basically sets people up to have expectations and be disappointed over and over and over again. So when I come up to the plate like I can help you, the defense goes up. Well, I did the such and such, and they told me it was. You see what I'm saying? But that's why when I speak with the 30-minute consultation, I let them know. Look, even when I do energy healing work, don't expect to have a 25-minute energetic orgasm with me. Whatever is going to happen within the session is what needs to happen. Just be open. You see, so I did the expectation.
I want my orgasm. What are you talking about?
Right,
but I paid for 25 minutes.
I'm going to pay for it. Give the money back.
It could happen, but it'll only happen if you're open enough to allow it to happen.
But see, I think this is what happens is I'm guessing that many people also from that thread had expectations,
Well,
as people do, about what they're going to be receiving. And
I think we know what the
because
problem is. Measurement.
measurement, there's no way to measure.
And but we have now.
There's no way to measure. How do you measure spirituality? I think that's the problem, is people are saying you can't measure it. So to put a value on it is based on what, you know? And
Well, it's after the fact, because I have clients that can tell you the improvements that has happened in their lives, but they had to go and apply an experience to see it first. They had to apply it.
I can give some alternative examples and then I'm going to parallel it to spiritual. So, you know, my first career is baseball, and as a kid, I was going and seeing coaches to teach me to throw, and some, you know, charge $50 for a session, you know, and there's one that charged, like, you know, some videos and tapes that you buy online, you know, traditional Western marketing, and we bought those videos, and, you know, my pitching improved, but I think we paid like $400, $500, you know. I was like 12 years old, maybe 13. And then, you know, again, no big deal, right? Then, how much really changes? I mean, if somebody was to evaluate before and after, they would see that I improved. But is the improvement a monetary value? Well, in sports it is, right? Because that improvement led me to be able to reach a professional level. Well, then I got to professional level, right? And I go see a guy, and my session with that gentleman was a $500 session. A session.
because you could afford more?
I guess because I can afford more, but why do I value that gentleman? Because I'll tell you why. Because 30 years doing it, because 6 degrees in all these different areas of biomechanics and understanding what he's doing. And to me, that 30 minutes of time with him was enough to give me 5 more miles per hour. Now, measurable, right? Measurable. However, could I say that I could have probably talked to somebody on the street and it could give me, but the time it would have taken me, it'd be like playing the lottery. The time it would take me to find someone on the street that has the value that he's going to give me, it's just worth it for me to take that money and give it to the guy because I know he's there. I know I'm going to get what that person's going to provide. Now,
okay, you just said it. You know what you're going to get.
Yes. And so you talk about expectation. There's a little. I'm not going to say.
I think that's the issue. I think that's one of the main issues here.
Expectation is a big issue, but the thing is in spirituality, I've spent money on services for spirituality, probably far more than most people would even imagine. Okay.
Yeah.
And I will tell you something. The money I spent was worth it. It changed my life.
Yeah.
It changed me in ways that I can't even express. I wouldn't have the mind, the heart, or have been able to connect with you guys in this world had I not done those things. Did it change my finance at the time too? Sure did. But I don't have any regret on it. Now, am I telling everybody to do something like that? Or no. Everybody's going to do it a different way. Everybody has a different karma. Everyone is born in different circumstances and will have access to information in different ways. But for me, it was a value. So, and then at the same time, I meet you guys. And then at the same time, Jason gives me a lot of information for free that is life-changing. Valerie gives me a lot of information for free that is life-changing. However, we're also building a community together. So there's lots of exchange between us, lots of create. So, if I could put money on that, and I had the money to put on that, I would put any amount of money on it. So again, it depends on what you consider valuable and what you're willing to do for the people that you see are helping you.
Right, and I want to talk about this. In America, people pay $300 to go see Jay-Z and Beyonce on stage. Right? They pay money for the Gucci bag and pay money for all this the video games and all this stuff, but you can't pay for a session to do the inner work. So it's about where we put our value. You see, we don't have an issue with paying $300 a ticket. Really? When I could just go on YouTube and watch their video.
Well, because there's up here, but I think you said it because you know what you're getting. You have an expectation.
I mean, but
I think what happens is it's false. It's an expectation or an attachment to receiving something it's not tangible, right? I mean,
That's what I'm saying. We don't value the inner.
But that's the problem. I think it's very. How do you measure it? I think Alex said that.
Yeah,
how do you measure that? And if someone doesn't feel anything during a session, right? They're like, well, I don't feel like there's an exchange, or I think that's the part of the problem.
With a psychiatrist too.
That's right.
Or a psychologist. Nothing can change. You can go to a session, and if you don't do the work, you just yell with him.
But they'll talk with you for an hour. But see, they're licensed, and they do have protocol. I think part of this is it's very open into all these different services and healers, and because there's no you can't put it in a box necessarily. I think a lot of people have been
standardization is what it really comes down to. Standardization, and it really comes down to people who have again taken advantage of those. There's been in all of history, there's been a lot of snake oil. We know this.
I was going to say, there's the snake oil, there's the promises, there's,
it's
the measurable piece. But also I think that there is a collective issue with healers or with anyone in a spiritual capacity. At some point, somewhere, someone felt like if you're really doing it from the heart, then, there's no money attached to it. And I think a lot of people struggle with this issue, because they feel like, well, if I'm charging, then am I really being authentic? I think that is a struggle for a lot of people that provide. Yeah, I think it's been a struggle for, it is. And also I think it's, you want to come from the heart and help as many people as you can. And so I think also what I see is a lot of people in a healing capacity, they give so much and they're just not receiving enough. They're not open to receiving. And so it creates an imbalance. So my thing is, if you want to offer me something other than money, I'm open.
Me too.
I'm open to it. So I'm open, and I think that's it, is where people perhaps, not want something for nothing, but there's so much data online, and so it's really hard also to discern if this person has the correct info, if this person is really being authentic, right?
Maybe it's an opportunity for us to talk about new technology.
Yes, perfect. Oh, we have 10 minutes.
How we can actually.
Yes. How can technology help us? What do we see as the future?
Well, you guys, for those of you out there, and for you guys know I focus in the cryptocurrency community. And again, cryptocurrency, we hear currency, we think money, but really let's start changing the rhetoric. Let's start to think about an information ecosystem that is a chain of activity, a chain of actions that can show confirmations. It's a consensus system, and it's a consensus system that's dynamic. So imagine, spiritual community, if we built a consensus system where we shared the same instrument to create advanced barter, where we could put things into the system that would give the unit we're using a value. We could either exchange the unit or have something inside of the system that was the thing being exchanged sent to the person. And we can evaluate I guess you could say we could evaluate the value of the practitioners based on a number of confirmations in the chain. You see, if I see that person that is being building a spiritual practice has reached a certain number of confirmations, I can look and say, wow, they must be providing a value, because a lot of people keep coming to them for confirmations. But if at the same time, because they built such a level of confirmations, the value to have access to them also grows, because there's more of a demand for that person. So I might be like, wow, I want to go to them, but is there someone that is a spiritual practitioner similar? Well, I could look in that chain and I could find someone that maybe has less confirmations, so then because of that they have a lower value. It doesn't mean they're any less valuable. You might be the one to find out that they're a gem, but you can go to them and maybe their exchange is lower or nothing, because they want to build up their confirmations. That
might be part of it.
You see, there's ways to do this where we can start to evaluate and basically sift out the snake oil, sift out the people that are trying to take advantage, and we'd be able to see in this consensus system who's who.
Yeah.
We can do this as a community, and
because it's
that
authentic.
would make the spiritual community have a validation. It would allow us to sort of confront our anxieties about exchange.
Yeah.
And again, we really need consensus on this. We really need input. We need to. We can build this if we talk about it in dialogue.
Yeah. I agree. I think that's a great idea, and and what you said is a lot of people are uncomfortable asking for it, even though they are, authentic in doing the work. And that's where a lot of people get pulled in because they want to help, and that's really, I think, such an innate. I think that's innate for a human. We want to help. We want to help each other.
Yes.
But if we've chosen this as a full-time endeavor, then that should be supported. But I think this also goes to a bigger picture of valuing people in a way that is bigger than just themselves, meaning, having a global impact, and understanding that the more people that are raising their consciousness and holding a vibration throughout the world, that it expands everyone.
As everyone expands, we begin to change the construct of the society we live in, and we begin to break down those walls and rebuild. But the rebuilding of a new nation, of a higher consciousness, has to come with us becoming more conscious. That's what people are not seeing. People want to change without changing themselves. And
I think it's what you were saying, Alex, is there's no confirmation system. No. Someone, if you can't feel the difference between one, person or another, then how are you going to really be able to discern? Well, she's charging $300. She's charging $50 for the same thing. Well, what's the difference?
Mm-hmm.
She's,
and it goes back to the battle between the mind and the heart. Too many of us are closed down in the heart, so we can't feel people's intentions. I can feel people's intentions because I have an open heart and I'm open. So
you think
what I help my clients do, open their hearts so they can have a better comprehension of people's intentions. And I want to say this to everybody who's watching within the spiritual community. Alex Merricks and his partner, they can create this system. They have the skill set to create the system that he just described, the confirmation system, where we can all help each other build a new system based on exchanging. So if anyone out there wants to talk to Alex about how you can invest into this infrastructure, contact us, because we have the ideas, we have blueprints, we just need the support. And unfortunately, the support is money in this system. But for us to break out of that system, we need dough to make bread. That's simple. So if we want to get free, we have to use the tools that we have now to break out.
On that note, I'll share another comment. Someone actually posted on the actual event page. She said, try telling, did I already say this? Try telling your doctor, dentist, mechanic that they shouldn't charge for their gift or wisdom, and see if they will share their knowledge or their field for free. She said, my personal take, you are not paying me for my knowledge or my skill. You're paying me for having spent so many years acquiring it. I think you mentioned this earlier, Alex. Yeah. So you don't have to. You don't have to spend 10 years. You're paying for my time.
Has anybody seen those little models you get? You know, those like models where you can put together and, you know, you could get the little glue stick and paint it.
Yeah.
You ever looked at one of those things like laid out and then been like, oh, God, like your kid is telling you, Dad, let's put it together. You know, and you're just kind of like,
you too.
Yeah. And then you're like,
great.
Who can put this together for me in 30 minutes? You're going to pay that guy to put it together.
Or you're going to go on YouTube and look at a video. No, you're not paying for YouTube, but you're paying for the connection to YouTube, and YouTube is...
Your kid wants it now, though. Your kid wants it now. So you could go to YouTube, just like healing. When do you need healing? When do you need help? Now. So if you have the time to spend on YouTube and watch tutorials for the next...
Yeah, that's great.
fantastic. By all means, do that. But if you need something now, you're paying for the quantized data. You're paying for that individual who is like the person that placed his comment said, spent 4, 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 years, eons, you know, bringing this information to a single identity to share with you.
Yeah.
Right. And you're working directly with direct issues, direct problems that they have. You pinpoint an issue and then give tools on how to resolve it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. And my analogy I thought was very appropriate. You're at a strip club.
I want to read what Kaleo Salada Dragon had to say.
Oh, gosh, that's right. We can't forget Kaleo. Okay.
Yeah, he said it's really quite simple once you dissolve the false rules, judgments, and projections that society, especially so-called light workers, attach to money. The whole point of energetic exchange and flow is experimentation. Putting artificial rules around what you can and can't do kills everything you touch. Don't do it.
Yeah, and he said he's taken everything. His money. Or I guess we won't do my strip club idea. My strip club analogy.
Strip club analogy. I want to hear that.
Was you walk in? You haven't heard this?
I don't remember.
My analogy was you go to a strip club. There's a bunch of women all over the place, right? You're giving money here and there, but no one has your specific attention. You're just there, and then you say, "Oh, I want to take one of them into the champagne room or whatever wherever you men take them. I don't know."
Boom, boom, room.
Boom, boom room, right? So you're saying, "I want your time to put all of your attention on me." Now you're going to pay more for that undivided attention, right? I think, and I see that very similarly as we share a lot of data.
I guess the argument with that would be some people would say, well, why it's free out there.
But I have a question on that.
That analogy, not really.
Oh yeah,
Not an accurate analogy. Whatever.
Here's the thing.
Club analogy.
For people who say, well, it's a lot of knowledge out there that's free, though, right?
Yeah.
They make that argument. Well, if they make that argument, why are they looking for some help anyway? Why do they go looking for a guide?
What I find is you can find gazillion articles on Reiki, right? Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, people have questions.
Mm-hmm.
They're still not sure how to apply it. I'm providing confirmation, and also as a guru or a guide or teacher, I'm providing feedback, because it's easy to just go read an article, but if something happens and you don't know what to do, you don't have anyone around, that's where it becomes, of course, I will assist you,
Right. Or it's a circumstance that's not being examined in the article or within the clip. It's a particular situation that you need guidance on.
That's right. That's
when it becomes attention-based and pinpointed to that one particular issue that needs to be resolved. That's what
it'd be like if I had a dictionary and I told somebody, here's the Oxford English capacity, everything is in it.
Yeah.
You own this, you're fine. However, it's just not the case. Even though everything is in it, what do we look for? We look for a person that has done what Kaleo said, experimented with different things in order to bring about different alchemical reactions which produce different results.
Exactly. Yeah. All right. Well, 1 minute left. Very interesting.
So
I'm
sorry. You go ahead.
Hopefully we've answered some questions. We posed a few new questions. I think this is an ongoing discussion, and I don't know. I think there's many different answers, and honestly, all of the answers on our original post last month were valid. I saw points in all of them. So. Yeah.
I saw points on both sides too. I did.
Yeah. So there you go. We'll continue the discussion.
I just want to say that I think that at the end of the day, it's all about intention, and I think as far as you choosing someone to work with for coaching, what have you, really read their material, dive into their material, and really get a feeling like how do you feel when you read their material? just don't just like don't forget about what they're saying and just the information itself. How does it make you feel?
How does it resonate? Yeah.
How does it resonate when you get their information? If it feels you feel something from them, just explore it and see. Do a consultation with them and see if that's the right person for you. Don't just fall for the mental masturbation that words can provide.
You mean come on marketing?
Yeah, basically.
Well, also I think it's the crowd, right? If you've got 10,000 people loving somebody, then people see there's value. I think that's also how we not judge, but how we value something.
Yeah, definitely.
If you have enough people that give it the same value, then you're not going to question whatever they're charging. You know, you're just going to go, okay.
But here's the thing: even if 10,000 people validate someone, if you trust your resonance and the resonance is off, that's more.
I'm with you. I totally agree with you. So listen to your intuition, trust yourself, and do what feels right for you. I don't think there's any right or wrong answer. If you don't want to charge, don't charge.
Don't charge. If you want to charge,
you're okay with that and you can subsidize your healing with something else, then go for it. Mm-hmm. But if you're having an issue and you can't support yourself and there's an issue there, I think it's just about how do you feel? Is the exchange valid? There's sometimes that I will do an exchange or I'll do it free. There's some moments because I'm guided to offer it. So I just go with how I feel. That's how I operate.
I've done the same thing.
Yeah, sometimes I charge and sometimes I'll offer it for nothing. So I think that at the end of the day, you just have to go with what's inside your heart and what feels right, so you're not left with an imbalance in your own energy field, which many healers are, many people are that I work with. And
you don't have to feel guilty for accepting money as an exchange.
No, accept money is just
energy. Love and to really help.
Exactly. We've attached this negative connotation. Sure, it can be negative. Sure, people take advantage of the other people, but it doesn't matter. They do it anyway in any industry. This is not like the only area, you know. So just go with what's in your heart. I think that's the most important.
Well said.
Okay, that's all for now. Thanks everybody for joining us. If you want to ask us questions, we'll be monitoring the page. So go ahead and ask us questions. You can also reach all of us on Facebook. And you can post questions to us personally. All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.
Have a beautiful day. Bye.